I was there on the night, and I'd actually had a earlier history with the band up from when they first signed with Twin Tone. I was there when the first demo was revealed to us all, and from the first album onward, I was their sound person until they started to tour. So for those 2 years, 2.5 years maybe, 80, 81, and into 82, I was their local sound person. Worked pretty closely with Peter Jesperson and just the emerging craziness surrounding their rising to notoriety, shall we say. I won't say fame yet, but their notoriety was starting to get around by that time, and people were finally figuring out who they were and how good they were. Yeah, it was my tradition and procedure to record many of the bands that I did sound for. I didn't record every single time, but for them, usually we did because Peter would be anxious to hear the tape of the show afterwards. So as a rule, we generally recorded pretty much most of the shows. Well, I remember hustling up some very loosely thrown together PA gear that we had gotten from, I'm not sure who we got it from or if we rented some stuff, bringing that up the stairs and getting it set up. Replacements did play, yes, I know there was some controversy about that, but we have documentation that they played. I knew they were gonna be good in one way or another that night, because that whole 6 months, they were pretty much on fire the whole time, so leading up to Stink, right after this, in between Stink and Sorry Ma. It was somewhat sloppy but lovable, as they usually did. Going back, revisiting the show again, his voice was really, really bashed in. I mean, it was pretty hoarser than his usual voice was when he used to blow his voice up all the time, but it was very craggy and nasty that night. And most of the stuff was all in the punk rock mode, pretty much all the Stink stuff. I remember hearing someone from the back room saying, the police are outside here, they're coming up. And so I thought, well, if I'm gonna go to jail, I'm not gonna get away now, so I'm just gonna stand here and see what happens. And because I had a beer right there too, just like what everyone else did. And even though I was of legal age, but the thing was completely illegal. So as soon as I just looked up to the side, and I saw the two guys walking through the crowd, and I'm like, oh wow, the police, they really are here. And I had the machine on record. Usually I would just stop it, but I somehow had just paused it, so it was still in record, but it was stopped. So as soon as I saw them coming over, I just reached over and took it off pause. Just barely got it in too, because they were there in 1 second. So if I would have missed it, I thought, oh, I'm just going to record it. And of course, it was great because it fed back on them too. So I was getting a special charge out of that, squealing in their ears. So that was a fun, just to know that it was going to be over. But they got a little shot of feedback to send them on their way. So I didn't really know for sure, other than I probably listened back to it a couple times, I think, and then maybe I think I took it to Peter, I'm sure right away. I said, I recorded the police, and he's like, really? So I think we took it up to his place and I had to locate it. It's actually not at the front of it, it's in the middle of the tape, the spiel. And he said, well, that's pretty cool, so I think he either brought it to Paul, and Paul, I don't know if Kids Don't Follow was recorded yet, but they said, well, maybe we could, this is pretty cool. So we went over, I think within a week or something, we took it to BlackBerry, a couple of weeks maybe, and Steve Phelps had just cut the piece out and transferred it to the 2-track off my cassette. And then from there, I think it was a while before they decided that it was going to go in front of Kids Don't Follow. Peter might have a more solid memory of that, but that was obviously the logical one to stick it in front of, because it segged in so nicely to the whole deal. No, I really didn't know who the voice was at that particular time. I knew it was someone that had too much to drink and was screaming at the police, but I didn't really pinpoint of who it was or who the person was, and people have asked me about it, but I'm not sure even myself, and I recorded it, so. The rumors I have heard have been Dave Perner, and I think there's other names that have come up, but Dave is the one I've heard the most of.